If you've ever heard someone's name and forgotten seconds later, if you've studied for hours only to blank out during the exam, if you've walked into a room and instantly lost the reason you went there, then this video isn't just useful for you. It was created for you. In the next minutes, you'll discover a practical, step-by-step system that can unlock your mind, strengthen your memory, and help you retain information for a lifetime. This is not another 5 quick hacks to remember more. What you're about to learn is a deeper method, a structured approach that can transform how your brain handles information starting today. There's another bonus. As you listen, you naturally improve your English. The explanations, examples, and stories give you clear sentence structures, better comprehension, and new vocabulary without effort. So whether you want to pass exams, recall what you read, boost your English skills, or simply train your brain to perform like a genius, stay through the entire lesson. When you apply these steps, you'll stop forgetting important things, and you'll finally feel trust in your own mind again. Step 1. Understand how memory actually works. Before mastering memory, you must know why forgetting happens. Most people believe their memory is bad. They say, "I'm not smart enough. My brain just can't keep information," or "I'm terrible at memorizing." But here's the truth. Your memory isn't weak, it's simply untrained. Think of your mind as a massive library. Every piece of information you learn, a name, a date, a fact, is like putting a book on a shelf. But if you place it carelessly without a label and never look at it again, that book gets lost between thousands of others. This is exactly how the brain treats information. It enters but doesn't stay because it never transitions from short-term memory to long-term memory. Short-term versus long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a small whiteboard. You can write on it, but if you don't save the information, it gets erased quickly. Long-term memory is a permanent notebook. Once something is stored there properly, it can stay forever. Most people unintentionally leave everything in short-term memory. They hear a name, but don't use it. They read a page without connecting emotionally to the content. They cram for exams, but never review. So the brain never transfers the information. It simply fades. Imagine you meet someone who says, "Hi, I'm Jason." You smile, talk, walk away, and minutes later someone asks, "What was his name?" Your mind goes blank. Why? Because the brain heard the name, but didn't process it. No repetition, no emotional link, no visualization. So it vanished. Now imagine doing it differently. Jason, like Jason Statham. He slightly resembles the actor. You repeat his name out loud. You use it again during the conversation. Suddenly the brain forms a solid path, and next time, you remember effortlessly. Memory is a skill, not a gift, and mastering it starts with understanding the system behind it. Let me introduce you to a video that has the potential to completely transform the way you think and learn. If you've ever heard someone's name and lost it almost instantly, if you spent hours studying only to forget everything the moment you need it, if you've entered a room and immediately forgotten why you walked in, then this lesson isn't just helpful for you. It is perfectly designed for you. In the next moments, you'll discover a clear, practical method that can help you unlock your mind's potential, strengthen your ability to remember, and store information permanently. This isn't another collection of quick memory tips. What you're about to learn is a powerful framework that can reshape how your brain processes and keeps knowledge, starting right now. And there's a bonus. While you follow this content, your English will improve naturally. The explanations, examples, and phrases will show you how to use clear, natural English in real situations, expand your vocabulary, and deepen your understanding. So whether your goal is to succeed in exams, remember what you read, become confident in English, or train your brain to function at a higher level, stay until the end. If you truly apply the steps you're about to learn, you'll stop forgetting what matters, and you'll finally feel what it's like to rely on your own mind again. Step 1. Learn how memory actually functions. Before you master remembering, you must understand forgetting. Many people believe they simply have a bad memory. They convince themselves they aren't intelligent enough, that their brain is weak, or that they just can't retain information. The truth is different. Your memory isn't damaged. It's simply not trained properly. Think of your brain as a giant personal library. Every new piece of information, a person's name, a fact, a number, is like placing a book on a shelf. But if you toss the book randomly, never label it, and never return to check it, that book disappears into the chaos. That's exactly what happens in your mind. Information enters, but doesn't stay, because it never moves from short-term storage to long-term storage. Short-term memory versus long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a small whiteboard. Something written on it disappears unless you actively save it. Long-term memory is like a notebook where what you write remains for good. Most people accidentally leave everything on the whiteboard. They hear a name but don't repeat it. They read something but don't connect emotionally with it. They study for a test but never revisit what they learned. So nothing gets transferred into long-term memory. It simply fades away. Picture this. You meet someone who introduces himself as Jason. You shake hands, chat briefly, and walk away. Minutes later, someone asks, "What was his name?" and your mind goes empty. Why? Because although your ears heard the name, your brain never processed it. No repetition, no connection, no visualization. So the memory evaporated. Now imagine a different scenario. You meet Jason and instantly think, Jason, like the actor Jason Statham. Maybe the person even slightly resembles him. You repeat his name aloud. You say it again while speaking to him. Now your brain has focused, formed associations, and repeated the information. That creates a strong memory path. And the next time you see him, the name appears instantly. Memory isn't a natural gift that some people have and others don't. It's a trainable skill, and it begins with understanding how your mental system works. Here's a harsh truth many people ignore. Most of the time, your memory isn't failing, your attention is. You simply cannot store something in your mind if you never TR. You focused on it in the first place. Your brain cannot remember what your eyes didn't actually register, what your ears didn't genuinely process, or what your mind wasn't present for. This is incredibly important because unless you correct this one issue, none of the other memory techniques will help you. Every day, your mind is bombarded with endless information. Colors, noises, movements, messages, headlines, conversations, notifications. If your brain attempted to remember all of it, you'd feel overwhelmed. So it filters things out. And what determines what it keeps? Your attention. If you focus on something, your mind saves it. If you don't, the brain treats it like it never existed. Think about this situation. You get out of a taxi while distracted. You're checking your phone, thinking about food, maybe replying to messages. You pay the driver and forget to take your bag. 5 minutes later, panic hits you. Your passport, your laptop, everything is in that car. You try to recall the car's license plate, but your mind gives you nothing. Why? Because your attention wasn't there. You saw the car, but you didn't really observe it. You heard the driver, but you weren't listening. Your brain had no reason to save details because you never signaled they were important. But imagine if before leaving the taxi, you paused for just 1 second and looked directly at the car. You noticed the driver's face. You mentally told yourself, "White Toyota, number 8473. That single moment of genuine focus would have saved you hours of stress. This doesn't only happen in real life. It happens during learning too. You sit in class or watch a video, but your mind drifts. You hear the words, but they never enter your memory. You read a sentence while thinking about something completely different. You listen to a podcast while texting. Later you say, I studied, but I don't remember anything. The truth is, you weren't fully present. You were physically there, but mentally elsewhere. And honestly, it's not your fault. Today's world is engineered to steal your attention. Constant notifications, endless media, multitasking everywhere. The modern environment trains your brain to jump from one thing to another instead of giving real focus. But remember this, you cannot save a file you never opened. So stop blaming your memory and start mastering your focus. Whenever you want to remember something, a name, a fact, a word, pause. Look directly at it. Repeat it. Say it out loud. Give it at least 5 seconds of real attention. Those 5 seconds can mean the difference between remembering for years or forgetting within minutes. Attention is a doorway to memory. If the door is closed, nothing gets inside. Step 3. Turn words into images because your brain remembers visuals, not text. Now that your attention is sharper, here's the next major insight. Your mind doesn't store words the way you think it does. When you hear a word, your brain doesn't picture the letters. It instantly forms an image. If I say elephant, you don't imagine the spelling. You picture a huge gray animal with big ears and a long trunk. That's how your memory naturally operates. It stores images, not text. So to remember anything, names, vocabulary, facts, numbers, you must translate it into a visual form. Words alone are boring to the brain. They're abstract and easy to forget. But images are full of color, movement, emotion, and shape. Your brain pays attention to that. For example, imagine meeting a girl named Lily. If you simply tell yourself Lily is her name, you'll forget it soon. But if you visualize her with hair made of white lilies, or holding a bouquet of lilies as she smiles, you create a memorable picture. Now her name has a visual anchor, and your brain decides, this is interesting. Let's keep it. The stranger, funnier, or more exaggerated the image, the stronger the memory becomes. Want to remember the word volcano? Don't imagine just a mountain. Envision a giant birthday cake erupting with hot chocolate lava. Add sound, a loud boom. Imagine the smell, burnt chocolate. It feels silly, but that is exactly why it sticks. Memory thrives on emotion and novelty. Try this with a simple list: milk, eggs, book, shoes, cat. If you memorize the list plainly, you'll forget half of it soon. But if you build a crazy mental story, a giant milk carton reading a book while sitting on a pair of shoes, with a cat wearing glasses watching and eggs fall into the sky, you will recall everything easily. Why? Because you aren't memorizing random items anymore. You're seeing a vivid scene. Your brain remembers stories and visuals far better than plain lists. This technique is used by memory champions to memorize hundreds of words in minutes, by actors to learn long scripts, by language learners to store thousands of new terms, and by speakers who deliver presentations without notes. You can use it too. From now on, don't just read facts. Visualize them. Don't just see text. Turn it into images. This one change can multiply your memory power dramatically, especially when learning languages, studying for exams, or absorbing new ideas. Step 4. Use the story method, because your brain remembers narratives, not disconnected pieces. Here's another life-changing truth. Your mind loves stories. It doesn't enjoy dry facts or isolated points. It craves movement, emotion, drama, and connection, all elements of a story. That's why the story method is so powerful. If you're given a list, apple, horse, jacket, candle, ice cream, cloud, socks, chair, tree, monkey, you might recall a few items, but most will disappear quickly. A list is unnatural to the brain. Each item floats alone with no relationship to the next. But if you weave them into a fun, chaotic story, everything changes. Picture this. A giant apple drops in the sky and hits a horse on the head. The horse panics, runs into a store and steals a jacket. He lights a candle to see better, melts an ice cream cone, which explodes into a cloud raining socks. A sock hits a chair. The chair transforms into a tree, and a monkey swings down from the branches, giving you a thumbs up. Repeat this story once, and you'll remember every word in perfect order. Not because you tried harder, but because your brain finally has connections to hold on to. Stories are the glue of memory. They give order, movement, feelings, and imagery. Children remember fairy tales in detail for years, but forget their lessons within minutes. Movie lines stick for decades, while news headlines vanish the next day. That's the power of narrative. Use this method for to-do lists, vocabulary, speeches, exam material, anything. The story doesn't have to be logical. In fact, the W. Erder, the better. Your brain loves surprise. Step 5. Use spaced repetition, because learning something once doesn't mean it will stay. Here's a difficult truth most students never hear. Cramming gives you the illusion of learning, not real memory. You can memorize something today and feel confident, but if you don't revisit it, your brain will quickly let it fade. The mind needs repetition over time to store information securely. This is where spaced repetition becomes your greatest ally. It is one of the most scientifically powerful techniques in memory training. Top performers in medicine, languages, law, science, and even memory competitions use this method because it works with how the brain naturally stores information. Think of learning like writing words in sand. At first, the letters are clear, but as time passes, wind and waves slowly erase them. Without review, the writing disappears. This natural pattern is called the forgetting curve. If you don't reinforce what you learned, the mind simply deletes it. To overcome this, follow a simple schedule. Study something once. Review it after 1 hour. Review again the next day. Then after 2 days. Then after 4 days. Then after 1 week. Then after 2 weeks. Every time you return to the information, your brain says, "Oh, this again, it must be important," and rewires the memory deeper. After about 5 or 6 spaced reviews, the memory becomes stable, like carving the words into stone instead of sand. For example, imagine you learn the word serendipity, which means unexpectedly finding something good. You might enjoy the word, but if you never revisit it, it will disappear from your mind within days. However, if you review it following the space schedule, repeating it in sentences, hearing it again, using it in your life, the word becomes part of your permanent vocabulary. Apps like Anki, Quizlet, and Brainscape automate space repetition, but you don't need technology. A notebook and a simple review calendar work just as well. The key is consistency, not tools. Many people feel discouraged. I read this already. Why don't I remember? The answer is simple. No review, no retention. Learning something one time is like watering a plant once and expecting it to grow forever. Spaced repetition is a repeated care that builds strong, lasting knowledge. Use it, and your memory will no longer be temporary. It will become dependable and long-lasting. Step 6. Add emotion, because feelings lock information into long-term memory. Here's a powerful secret. Emotion is the glue that makes memories permanent. The stronger the feeling attached to an event or idea, the more deeply it becomes etched into your mind. Think about your own life. You probably don't remember what shirt you wore last Tuesday, but you clearly remember times when you were heartbroken, embarrassed, thrilled, or deeply moved. Those memories stayed because they carried emotional weight. Your brain treats emotional moments as important and activates a region called the amygdala to store them more permanently. That's why, if you want to remember something, attach a feeling to it. You could read a sentence 10 times and still forget it the next day. But if one phrase makes you laugh, inspires you, or hits you emotionally, you'll remember it for years. Let's take a history date. April 15, 1912. The sinking of the Titanic. If you memorize it like a robot, it will slip away. But if you imagine the real human tragedy, families losing each other, musicians playing as the ship went down, acts of bravery and sacrifice, the date becomes unforgettable. Now it's not just a number. It's a story full of emotion. Even vocabulary can be memorized emotionally. Take the word abandon. Instead of defining it as to leave, think of a moment when you felt abandoned or when you walked away from something important. Suddenly the word has depth, and if the subject is boring, fake the emotion. Even artificial feelings are better than none. Think of a triangle's area formula, 1/2 times base times height. Imagine the triangle as a slice of pizza you only get half of. The disappointment will lock the fraction into your mind. Your brain doesn't care whether the emotion is logical. It cares that emotion exists. The more alive the information feels, the longer it stays with you. Step 7. Teach what you learn, because teaching forces your brain to remember twice. Here's one of the most underrated memory techniques in existence. If you want to make information stick permanently, teach it to someone else, and do it right after learning it. The moment you teach something, you shift from being a passive receiver to an active creator. You stop simply consuming information and start rebuilding it from the inside. When you explain something to another person, you automatically perform 3 powerful mental actions. You recall the information from memory, which strengthens retrieval pathways. You organize the idea clearly, which helps the brain structure it better. You express in your own words, which transforms temporary understanding into lasting knowledge. Anything you can teach, you will remember. Imagine you learn the word procrastinate. You read that it means delaying tasks. If you walk away without using the word, your brain may discard it by tomorrow. But if you turn a friend and say, "Do you know what procrastinate means?" It's when you keep avoiding things you need to do, like cleaning or homework. I procrastinate doing dishes all the time. Suddenly the memory becomes solid. Your brain has now taken ownership of the word. And don't worry, you don't need an audience. You can teach in many simple ways. Explain the concept out loud to yourself. Write a short post about it. Record a voice message pretending to explain it. Summarize the idea in a journal. Make a quick video no one else will ever see. The point is activating the teacher inside you. When you do, your learning becomes deeper, faster, and much more durable. Students who study and then teach others score dramatically higher on tests. Doctors who instruct interns master procedures faster. Even spiritual teachers say, when you teach, you heal twice, the student and yourself. Teaching isn't the final step of learning. It is the confirmation that learning has truly happened. Incorporate this daily, and your memory will feel unstoppable. Step 8. Build a mind palace, because your brain remembers locations better than facts. This technique is legendary. Ancient Greek thinkers used it. Today's memory champions rely on it, and it has helped people memorize entire decks of cards, full speeches, and long lists of facts in minutes. It's called the Mind Palace, and UCA and Build One too. Your brain naturally excels at remembering places, your old home, the layout of a childhood room, the path to school, the position of furniture. Even after years, you can walk through those spaces in your imagination as if they still exist. A mind palace uses that strength. You take a familiar place and mentally store information inside different locations within it. Then you walk through your palace and retrieve the memories as if you were picking up objects in a house. Here's how to start. 1. Choose a place you know extremely well. Your home, your school, your office, your favorite cafe, any location so familiar that you can navigate with your eyes closed. 2. Visualize a location in detail. Imagine approaching the door, stepping inside, moving through each room, the living room, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. The more vivid, the better. 3. Assign each piece of information to a physical spot. Let's say you want to memorize the planets in order: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Here's an example palace. Living room: a burning pan representing hot Mercury. Kitchen: a perfume cloud symbolizing beautiful Venus. Bathroom: a spinning globe inside the bathtub is Earth. Bedroom: red dust on the bed from Mars. Balcony: a massive bouncing ball for Jupiter. Stairs: a golden ring wrapped around a railing for Saturn. Terrace: a shivering ice block for Uranus. Gate: blue waves crashing at your feet for Neptune. When you walk through your mental house, the order of the planets appears effortlessly, because your brain remembers space naturally. Mind palaces help with speeches, languages, exams, lists, daily routines, anything. The more emotional, exaggerated, or ridiculous the images, the stronger the memory becomes. Practice it regularly, and your mind will feel organized, structured, and capable of storing enormous amounts of information. Step 9. Review before sleeping, because your brain decides what to keep at night. Here's something schools almost never teach, yet science has proven again and again. The final minutes before you fall asleep heavily influence what your brain stores for the long term. While you rest, your mind doesn't shut down. It organizes, cleans, sorts, and strengthens the memories you created during the day. Think of your brain as a night librarian. As you sleep, it reviews the books you opened during the day and makes decisions. Keep this. Throw that away. Move this into long-term storage. This is irrelevant. And what tells the mind which memories matter? Emotion, repetition, and timing. That's why reviewing important information right before bed is incredibly powerful. You're signaling to your brain, please save this. Imagine you studied 10 English words in the afternoon. You understood them, but never looked at them again. Later at night, you scroll through social media, watch random videos, read memes. When you fall asleep, your brain concludes, this is what was important, and keeps the meaningless content while forgetting the words you worked on earlier. But imagine a different evening. You take 5 quiet minutes before sleeping. You gently go through the 10 words. You whisper them, build a sentence with each, feel a bit of pride, then close your eyes and sleep. Now your brain reacts. These matter. Store them. Here's a simple nightly routine that can transform your memory. Turn off noise and distractions. Review the most important things you learned that day. Say them aloud or mentally. Visualize them. Feel grateful or satisfied. Drift into sleep. This tiny ritual requires no extra effort and fits naturally into your day. It strengthens memory consolidation, builds discipline, improves focus, and even helps you sleep better. Those who consistently review before bed remember far more than those who don't. Step 10. Write things down, because writing is your brain save button. There's a reason why people often forget what they hear, what they read, or what they watch, but almost never forget what they physically write by hand. Writing activates deeper mental processes. It slows down your thoughts, forces you to structure ideas clearly, and creates a physical connection between your hand and your memory. When you only listen or read, your mind stays passive. It says, okay, sounds interesting, and often discard the information minutes later. But the moment you write something down, your brain becomes active and alert. It thinks, this must be important, and starts forming stronger neural pathways. Writing doesn't just help you remember, it helps you understand. For example, consider the English word resilience. You might read the definition, the ability to recover from difficulties, and think you understand it. But if you don't use it, repeat it, or write it, the word fades quickly. Now imagine writing it down. Word, resilience, meaning. the strength to bounce back after hardship. Example sentence. After losing his job, his resilience led him to new opportunities. Personal reflection. I want to build more resilience in my own life. This simple exercise transforms a word from a definition into a meaningful, memorable piece of your personal story. Typing is fast, but writing by hand is powerful. When you write manually, you observe each letter, slow your mind, and deepen the memory trace. Research consistently shows that students who take handwritten notes outperform those who only type or highlight. So whenever you want to remember something, vocabulary, important facts, inspiring quotes, personal insights, lessons from videos or books, write it down. A single notebook filled with thoughtful notes is more valuable than hours of passive learning. Step 11. Use active recall, because testing yourself builds real, long-term memory. Most learners make a major mistake. They keep rereading the same material, believing that understanding something in the moment means they will remember it later. But understanding is not memory. The true test isn't whether you can follow the information while looking at it. The real question is whether you can recall it when it's no longer in front of you. That's where active recall comes in. It's the most honest and powerful method for building solid memory. Active recall means closing the book, pausing the video, hiding the answer, and challenging your brain. Can I remember this without looking? No peeking, no hints, no repeating the text again to feel better. Only you and your brain. When you force yourself to retrieve information, your brain strengthens the exact pathways responsible for memory. Every attempt, even if you get it wrong, makes the memory stronger. For example, imagine you read the quote, "Consistency matters more than intensity." You understand it while looking at the words. But now cover the sentence and ask yourself, what was the quote? What did it mean? Can I explain it in my own words? At first, you may struggle. You may only remember half of it. But that struggle is the training. That's where your brain actually grows. Do it again the next day, then again next week. The more often you try to recall something without seeing it, the deeper it gets stored. Think of it like working out at the gym. Watching someone lift weights doesn't build your muscles. Only lifting the weights yourself does. Active recall is your brain lifting weights. Here are simple ways to practice it. After reading a chapter, close the book and write down everything you remember. After watching a video, pause and summarize out loud. Use flashcards. Look at the question. Try to answer before flipping the card. Before sleeping, quiz yourself. What did I learn today? What new word do I remember? When learning vocabulary, hide the definition and attempt to recall it. Avoid passive review. Choose active testing. Retrieval strengthens retention every time. It might feel uncomfortable, but that discomfort is proof that learning is working. If you do this daily, your memory will become sharper than ever. Step 12. Protect your mind from overload, because a cluttered brain cannot store anything. Let's finish with truth almost no one talks about. Your brain isn't supposed to handle endless amount of input. It's designed to store what matters, not everything you encounter. Today, most people forget not because they are lazy or slow, but because their minds are overflowing with unnecessary information. Your brain is constantly attacked by noise, messages, notifications, videos, memes, headlines, comments, suggestions, distractions. If you start your day by scrolling before getting out of bed, you're already filling your brain with clutter before your real day even begins. By morning, your mental energy is half gone. This is a hidden enemy of memory. Too much input, too little silence. Imagine your mind as a cup. If you keep pouring water into it without emptying anything, it eventually spills over. When your brain is full of random content, it can't store the important things, like your goals, your tasks, or the knowledge you're trying to learn. For example, you create a simple shopping list in your head: milk, bread, apples, soap, onions. Easy. But then you watch videos, reply to messages, open apps, scroll through memes, jump from link to link, read comments, check notifications. By the time you reach the store, you remember 2 or 3 items and forget the rest. It's not because you're forgetful. It's because your mind was buried under a pile of digital junk. Your brain is a garden, not a garbage bin. If you don't pull out the weeds, pointless content, distractions, noise, they will suffocate the flowers, which are the things you actually want to remember and grow. To protect your memory, you must protect your mental space. Here are powerful habits to reduce overload. Start your morning in silence. Before touching your phone, give yourself 5 calm minutes. Remove digital noise. Unfollow accounts that don't help you grow. Journal your thoughts every evening. Empty your mind onto paper. Take daily no phone breaks. Even 1 hour of digital rest clears mental fog. Be selective with your attention. Not every message needs a reply. Not every video is worth watching. Not every idea deserves space in your head. You wouldn't let strangers sleep in your bedroom. So don't let random content live rent-free in your mind. Memory requires space. Focus requires quiet. Protect your brain, and your memory will flourish. Now you've reached the end of all 12 steps, not just simple tricks, but a complete system capable of reshaping the way your memory works and how you learn anything. These methods can make you recall information faster, understand English more naturally, study more effectively, and feel confident in your ability to store what truly matters. But there is one final truth you must remember. Knowing these steps is not enough. Real transformation happens only when you apply them daily. Memory is not magic. It is a habit, a lifestyle, a set of consistent choices. Ask yourself, do I write down things I learn? Do I reteach what I understand to others? Do I protect my mind from constant noise? Do I review important ideas before I sleep? Do I visualize what I want to remember? Do I use spaced repetition instead of trying to cram? Do I build mental images, stories, and mind palaces? Do I give myself silence so my mind can breathe? If your answer is yes, even partially, then you're no longer just someone trying to improve memory. You're becoming a person who remembers what matters when it matters. This program isn't only about improving memory. It's about awakening your inner mental strength, the part of your mind that is organized, calm, sharp, and fully alive. Once you understand how your brain works, you no longer feel lost or overwhelmed. You feel in control. And here's something many people overlook. This entire journey has also strengthened your English. Every sentence, story, and explanation has helped you understand natural English structure, expand your vocabulary, and hear how ideas are expressed clearly and confidently. You learn 2 skills at once, memory and language. So if you enjoy this content, if you want to keep improving your mind, your focus, your English, and your ability to learn, if you want lessons that make you not just fluent, but smarter and stronger, then stay with this kind of learning. Seek knowledge that elevates you. Choose content that challenges, inspires, and develops you. Because here, we don't learn English just to translate words. We use English to build the best version of ourselves, mentally, emotionally, and intellectually. Your brain is ready. Your potential is open. Your journey starts now. Go make your mind unforgettable.